a Times Union podcast.
Determined to make the rest of summer the best of summer? LL Bean has clothing and gear designed to do it all. Like sun-washed apparel that feels broken in from the start, rainwear for every surprise rainstorm, hand-sewn boat shoes, and of course, the iconic boat and tote, made right here in Maine to carry all your summer essentials since 1944. LL Bean, be an outsider. Visit llbean.com to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao. A gift from Italy to your home. San Pellegrino Ciao is a flavored sparkling water made with real fruit juice, finished with a pinch of Sicilian salt for a perfectly balanced taste. So which flavor will you choose? Peach, lime, blood orange, cherry, or maybe the all-new limoncello? Crafted in Italy with 0 grams of added sugar. San Pellegrino Ciao. Buy it now.
But what ended up being the really interesting part of the story was these 2 dogs we met could do math, like actual honest to goodness math.
Welcome to another episode of the Eagle, a Times Union podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Marshall. I'm here with Kristi Gustafson Barlette, and we are going to talk all things culture, lifestyle, and everything in between. We're going to start with the fact that several of the local news stations have now started lifestyle shows. Tell us about that. What's going on?
So Channel 10 has Upstate Living and Channel 13 has Capital Region Lifestyle. They say the shows are very different, but I've watched them both. They are similar in the very best way. They're really celebrating the Capital Region, all the great things the Capital Region has to offer, whether that's the people in the Capital Region, the places, the things to do, the events on the weekend, that kind of thing. So WMIT's primary anchors, they have Chris Honorato and Caitlin Erla, who do the morning news as well. And they also have support team as well, but those 2 are the main ones. And then over at Channel 10, Anne McCloy came back from Channel 6 to do this, and she joined Billy Floyd. And she actually used to co-anchor with Billy Floyd's father, Greg Floyd, at Channel 6. So it's a little full circle there.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so I've caught the shows. I've caught some of the segments. They're really great about reposting and promoting on social media, and it's a fun kind of breakdown of what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So they're just getting started. They both have one's been running for about a week, the other one for a couple of weeks. But it seems like they're starting to get their groove.
Why all of a sudden are there 2 new shows that are focused on culture and lifestyle, whereas prior to that, there hadn't really been anything like this? Why?
I think it's a combination of things. I think, first of all, we know that the interest in features is ever growing, which, of course, I love that. We love that because that's the kind
Not
of
complaining.
No, it's the kind of things we highlight. People love to get an idea of what's in their community, maybe before they check it out, or to learn about something they didn't know about. So that's part of it. Also, I think there's great advertising opportunities here, whether it's paid content or just general. There's a whole other hour to fill with ad spots. Mm-hmm. And it's natural to think that if you're doing a local show, that you would have local ads within that show.
All right. Well, lots to look forward to in the local media scene, and you report on it fastidiously. So I'm sure come to timesunion.com to see all that she's written about changes and happenings and everything local media. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. You and we collaborate a lot on our own content, our own video content that we put up on our social channels. They've been really, really fun. We've done a lot of fun things so far. Let's talk about some of the latest things that we've done. What have we done?
Well, I will tell you one that we did recently that I had to convince you to do this story, and it ended up being incredibly popular, the video. So this is the head spa. Okay. We went to a head spa, and when I said we're going to a head spa, pretty much everyone's first question was, what's that?
Yeah, what is a head spa?
Question. But basically, if you think of it like the very best shampoo and massage you ever got at a hair salon, and sort of that elevated, because they're checking on your scalp health, they're checking on your hair health, they're checking on your health, but it's also incredibly relaxing. It stimulates hair growth. You get a fabulous blowout at the end. Yes. So we did that. And those videos, quickly racked up more than 10,000 views on Instagram, and I think more on some of the other social media sites. So that was a fun one.
Yeah.
And then we also went to the airport, and we went to do a story on this canine program, which essentially there are dogs. I think there's about 40 different dogs, and they're there to comfort nervous passengers and nervous flyers and meet people who may be missing their own dogs when they're traveling away. But what ended up being the really interesting part of the story was these 2 dogs we met could do math, like actual honest to goodness math. And it wasn't a trick like where, only if the magician does it, it will work. This was you, me, any stranger walking through the airport could come up, ask the dog a math problem, and the dog would get the math problem correct.
Anybody know the square root of 144? Well,
But when we got to the square roots, the dogs were getting the answers faster than the people who were just like, wait, what's the square root again?
I think the dogs were doing higher level math than I'm capable of on a regular basis. It was truly something that you have to witness. So please go to our social channels and check out that awesome video of those dogs. That was a really special video, and I don't think we were expecting that going in at all.
No, it was fun. And then there was this man there who was like giving shade and saying this isn't really happening. He was kind of heckling from the gate.
Dogs.
He was heckling the dogs from the gate, which is that sentence is such a weird thing to say, but it was happening.
Yeah.
But I get it too. We went into it and I thought, well, the dogs don't know how to do math, or they only know how to do math when their owner asks because there's some sort of communication there. But no, I could go up and say, what's 7 times 4, or what's the square root of 81, or whatever. Like, we got to pick the math problem.
Yep.
And the dogs could do the math problem.
Yeah, you got to see it. It's pretty special.
It was really impressive.
All right, let's move on to our final topic of the day, something that you and I both find extremely irksome. I don't know if that's the right word. It's something that you wrote about in your weekly newsletter, which, by the way, go to timesunion.com to sign up for Kristi's weekly newsletter, which is awesome. You talked about the plague of socks in your home. Tell us about that.
It's one of my many parenting woes, I guess. So my children will always wear socks no matter the weather. They love socks, but they also leave socks all over the place. And I'm talking, I think I sent a photo to you of on the side of our pool in the bushes, there was just a random sock. I will find socks on tables, under tables, in my car, in random places, outside, in their bags. Sometimes I'll open their backpacks and there's just a bunch of socks shoved in there. And the socks are often dirty because they decide to walk outside as if the socks are shoes. They're not. And that brings me frustration as well. But I don't understand why all the other laundry can make it into the hamper, but the socks end up everywhere but in the hamper.
Yeah.
And I also don't know how we don't constantly run out of socks because of this.
It sounds like we're talking about something pretty mundane, but it really struck a chord with your audience, right?
Oh my gosh. I wrote about this. I got so many emails from the newsletter and then also so many comments on the post. People were like, my house too, my house. And some people said their husbands did it too. But in most cases, it was the children and all ages. I'm talking teenagers were leaving socks around. Toddlers were leaving socks around. And I don't get it because I understand some people may not want the socks on their feet. I'm not a big sock person. So that part I get. But when you like socks, why are you constantly taking them off and leaving them around? Because theoretically, when you put them on in the morning, take them off at night and put them in the hamper with your other dirty laundry. But people could relate to it and people said, oh, you've hit something. And I love when I find those topics because that's really, I like to really focus, you say the mundane. And sometimes people think it's an insult to say to me, oh, you just read about the mundane. No, I don't take that as an insult at all. I'm actually glad that I can find something mundane and get a story out of it or turn it into something creative or turn it into, most importantly, something relatable.
Yes.
And it's amazing how often the mundane is relatable because, of course, and people will say, oh, don't you care that people are, starving in wherever they're, all over China, Albany, everywhere, they're starving? Or don't you care that this is going on in our country or our world? Well, of course I care about those things. Absolutely. But we're not one-dimensional. So it's okay to care about war and poverty and hunger, but also care about socks. Like I'm not a one-dimensional person, and neither are other people.
Sure.
So that's the other thing. The other people who are criticizing it too, I'm thinking, don't tell me you're not playing on those reels on social media or engaging in other content, because we all need that. Otherwise, it's just too heavy.
We need more dogs doing math in our life too, I think. Yeah.
I want to go hang with those dogs again.
Yeah.
I want to have a math off with them.
Like a math test, like a final.
Yeah, like a spelling bee, but like a math off. But they're going to win, especially the one dog. Rosie was, I think, the best.
Rosie was sharp.
Yeah,
that was a sharp dog. Well, Kristi, thank you so much for joining me here on The Eagle. We will check back in with you, I think, pretty frequently because there's always something to talk about. So thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
Watch or listen to The Eagle, a Times Union podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.